Yo, the comments disappeared too. Hold on, let me get that back up. That's easy. I think. It used to be easy, haven't.
Oh, are we live, Boof Haskins? You didn't even say we're live.
We are.
You're just like friggin' sabotaging me like that? I could have said some crazy things right there.
I said we're going live in 3 seconds. Like, do you know how to count?
Yeah. No, all right.
I can't get the comments up below us. I don't know what's going on with that.
Dude, that's what I'm telling you. The rendezvous is a madman. It fueled my rage yesterday.
I honestly think I need to switch to OBS. I've had enough.
I've had enough too.
All right, what's up, everyone? The people that are in here. Well, I mean, I made money in NFL. We finished in the green. I know a lot of people.
Yeah, I made money.
Yeah, I mean, we had a bad NFL Sunday last Sunday, not yesterday. A lot of people just bet the bet of the day. It's whatever, to each his own. But anyway, we're talking NBA. And I want everyone to feel safe because we've put Prop Beaver's mom in protective custody. She's not going to be verbally assaulted on the air at all.
Yes.
She's safe. She's in a safe place. Safe from her murderous son.
She's in a safe house on the Upper East Side, but they won't tell me where it is, so she should be good for now. Should be a good episode.
He's not yeah, he's not a threat. Everything is good.
Nah.
So, to answer the question, the NBA, the Monday Night Football is going up on the website as soon as we're done here. And there's only there's 8 NBA games, so we'll get through this pretty quickly. Let me just pull up my notes here. First game is Indiana at Philadelphia. Hold on a second. All right. Indiana at Philadelphia. Now, I know all of you right now are thinking, well, obviously we're not betting the Sixers after what we've seen. And you're wrong. I am betting the Sixers. I'm laying all 12.5 of those points. Listen, I'm not going to sit here and say the Sixers have been good. But basically, people are big on Indiana right now because of one player, Mathurin, coming off the bench. He looks good as hell. Can we take into a consideration that Indiana has had the easiest start to a schedule in the history of NBA? They're 30th in strength of schedule, and it's not close. They're way down below anyone else. And, I mean, like, the Sixers' defense has been bad. They're 25th in rim scoring efficiency, so they can't protect the rim. They're 26th in defending the three ball, so they can't defend the perimeter either. But these are all early growing pains. It's early in the season. The Pacers start off. This is the Pacers' first road game of the year. They start off with 3 straight home games against the Wizards, the Spurs, and the Pistons. It doesn't get much easier than that. Yeah, they did grab a win against Detroit on Saturday, but Detroit was on a back-to-back with a travel. So Detroit had just played a game the night before, then had to fly to Indiana. That was a very, very fortunate spot for the Pacers. This is not. Philadelphia is just way too talented to go 0-4 or even risk going 0-4. Doc Rivers is entering coaching for my job territory right here. All these complaints, what do you see on Twitter? What do you hear everyone saying? I'm pretty sure Stephen A. Smith, king of the, just clickbait takes, I think even he was talking about Embiid not getting looks in the paint. That's what everyone's talking about, right? They're being heard. Doc Rivers is coaching for his job now. You're going to see Embiid get looks in the paint tonight, and the Pacers are starting. It's either Terry Taylor or Isaiah Jackson at the 5. I don't even know which one. AJ, you know who's going to start?
It's going to be Terry Taylor.
All right, so Terry Taylor might start. Isaiah Jackson had 5 blocks in that Detroit game, though, so I thought he might start. But so it's going to be one of those guys. Regardless, they'll both be in foul trouble. Neither can cover Embiid. It's time to silence the Philly haters. I'm laying the 12.5 points, and here comes Public Pete with his pick. I guarantee you he's on the Pacers. Public son of a bitch.
Public Pete, I wake up today, I look on my phone, and DraftKings is telling me, oh, the Pacers have lost their last 17 of 18 against Eastern Conference opponents, and oh, bet the over, blah, 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 blah. I like the Pacers here a lot, and I actually think it could be a little bit low scoring. I know the Pacers haven't really played anybody thus far, but they do attack the rim at a high rate. And while the 76ers opponents haven't attacked the paint much, the Sixers in the paint have been horrendous thus far, allowing opponents to convert on 73.3% of their opportunities. Not ideal. And I know that Sixers and Embiid, they've kind of been sticking to this mid-range game. We saw them kind of go and really feed Embiid in the paint last game. I think that that's going to be the strategy again here, but I really think that if you want to effectively score in Indiana, it's the three ball that's going to kill them. The Pacers, despite really having no true rim protector, are sitting second in rim efficiency right now and have actually looked pretty good at protecting it thus far. I'm going to just take the Pacers here at the plus 13. They've covered the spread all 4 times versus Philly last year in their last 8 of 10 against Philly overall. We saw them in there 2 times after the trade deadline last year. Come in there and get a nice little backdoor cover. I like the same for them today. Give me the Pacers.
Thanks, Public Pete, with your public play of the day.
You're a bum. I also took Joel Embiid over 12.5 rebounds at plus 100 because I like the game to stay close.
Oh, I thought you liked Terry Taylor, though. I thought you liked Terry Taylor to go in there and bang with Embiid. You like that matchup, right?
Nah, he's going to protect the rim, but then my boy Embiid's going to snag the rebies.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. Yeah, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
Philly by 20.
Yeah, that sounds Philly realistic.
By 20. Next up, Orlando at New York Knicks. There's a little bit of a weirdness to this matchup because if you remember, the Magic beat the Knicks twice in Madison Square Garden last year. Magic were undefeated, 2-0 in Madison Square Garden last year. And as a Knicks fan, I fucking remember that. That was horrible. One of them, Cole Anthony,
tragic.
It was horrible. And one of them, Cole Anthony, just snapped off, had like 31 points. I think he went like 7 for 11 from 3 in that game or something. And then the other one, the Magic defense really showed up. So this team had a lot of success playing in Madison Square Garden last year. I'm fading my Knicks here. I'm on Orlando. Plus 7.5. I'm also on the under. I think it's at 222, right? 222. Yep, it's right on the screen.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'm on Orlando plus 7.5 and the under. And here's why. Where are my notes? All right. So like I said, Orlando 2-0 Madison Square Garden last year. Julius Randle looked good as hell in the win over the Pistons the other night. For sure, was playing physical, getting those and ones. He looked like he was fired up. I'm not saying he's going to regress or anything. Maybe he's about to go on the heater. But one thing Julius Randle can't do very well is play defense. And Paolo Banchero is not shy about shooting. He's a really tough guard for the Knicks. He went off in the opener, if you remember. And then he's kind of had below average shooting nights in games 2 and 3. One was against Boston, and the other one was like no one has a good shooting night against Boston. And the other one was against Atlanta, where John Collins is one of the best stretch 4 defenders in the NBA. 2 tough matchups for a 19, 20-year-old rookie. I think Banchero is going to have a good night because Julius Randle is just his feet are not quick enough to guard this kid, and RJ Barrett doesn't have the length. I also think that the Knicks are going to put RJ Barrett on Cole Anthony for a lot of possessions, maybe Terrence Ross as well. But yeah, I don't think the Knicks have a guy on their roster that could really guard Banchero, which is why I see the Magic getting points there. I'm playing the under because I also, other than Banchero, I actually think the Knicks can do a pretty good defensive job on Orlando because of RJ Barrett. Paolo Banchero is going to get his 23, 24, which is his point total is at 18.5, but it's juiced. It's minus 155 to take the over. He hasn't scored less than 20 points in a game all season, and I think he'll have a really good one against the Knicks. But other than that, I don't see much offense from the Magic. And then vice versa, the Magic played really well in Madison Square Garden twice last year. The Knicks offense doesn't exactly scare you, so I think 7.5 is too many. I'll take Orlando and the under. Prop Beaver?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to get there with the Magic, but I'm definitely all over the under there. The Knicks have relied heavily on the mid-range so far, sitting 9th in frequency. It's also been their main strength in terms of efficiency, but Orlando has been deadly against the mid-range thus far, even playing some tougher opponents. They're sitting 1st in mid-range efficiency defense and 2nd in mid-range efficiency frequency from a defensive standpoint. And I really think that that's going to be able to shut down what the Knicks want to do offensively. And then, as you kind of point out, those last two games, yes, Paolo Banchero was incredibly inefficient, shot the ball 37 times the last two games and made just 12 of them, 3 of 13 from 3-point. It wasn't great. And while I don't know if we necessarily have the defenders to guard him, I do think Thibodeau, while I diss him, can be creative in how he gets guys to guard him. And if he's going to chuck, I think it's going to put Orlando in a hole against a really good Knicks defense. So I'm taking the under 222.
All right, we're both on the under. Next game, Raptors at Heat. And, I know the rule here. It's back-to-back games. The Heat just beat the Raptors. You're usually team split against the spread. So the public's heavy on Toronto here. I really like the way the Heat match up against Toronto, and the Heat started off the season with back-to-back home losses. I think they're going to follow it up with back-to-back home wins, both against the Raptors. Also, the Heat didn't even cover in that last game. They blew a 10-point lead with a minute left. They won by 3, so we pushed. So I don't even know if it even the flip-flop trend that people love, I don't even know if that applies here. So what do the Raptors do so well? So that what they do is they rely on cleaning the glass up, but it's not with size. They have 2, 3, 4 athletic guys in between 6'8" and 6'10" that just generally are faster than whoever they're guarding. The teams with these big centers, they out athletic them, which is a terrible way to phrase that, but you know what I'm trying to say. A guy like technically Siakam is their starting 5, but they still clean up the glass because the Scotty Barnes, OG Anunoby, all these guys are just more athletic than their counterparts. The Heat, you know who the Heat are starting at 4 and 5? Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Bam's probably the most athletic big in the league next to maybe Giannis. He's a freak. He's like the perfect guy you want when you're playing the Raptors. And Jimmy Butler, as we know, is playing a lot of minutes at the 4. So I don't think what the Raptors do is going to be as efficient against Miami as it would be against other teams, against teams that play with like a bigger, slower type center. I don't think they're going to be able to dominate Miami on the glass like they do other teams. I think the Raptors will be out of their comfort zone just like they were the other night. Like I said, that was a 3-point win, but the Heat controlled that game from start to finish. Yeah, I like the Heat here. It's at -3.5, and I'm taking it. Give me Miami -3.5. I think AJ's on the over here, right?
Yeah, I mean, I did like your Heat argument. I looked at the fact that all the money was on Toronto, and I was like, damn, if they didn't just burn me, I'd bet Miami again. But maybe that's what the books want people to think. So I'll take the Miami Heat for -3.5. And then I'm also going to ride with the over here at 215. 96% of the money's on the under. And while the line has dropped 2.5 points, I think that actually works in our favor here. The last 5 or 6 matchups between these teams have gone over. So I'm going to stick to the trend, and I'm just going to fade the money. Give me the over at 215.
All right, cool. On the same page there. Now we get to the next one, and I know we're on different pages. AJ and Prop Beaver is 1,000% wrong here. The Brooklyn Nets will win this basketball game. The Nets will win this basketball game. I'm taking Nets +1. The Memphis Grizzlies have not looked good. I know they got that overtime win over the Knicks in the opener, and then Ja Morant went crazy, and they were able to come from behind to beat the Rockets. What? Who cares? Memphis hasn't covered a single spread all year. They got a big O in the win column of their against the spread record. And really, they haven't looked good either. I mean, Memphis is 26th in the NBA in overall defensive efficiency. 26th. They are missing Dylan Brooks and Jaren Jackson Jr. so bad. And Kyle Anderson, who no longer plays for the team. The first 2 guys I mentioned are injured. I saw Dylan Brooks' game time decision. Do you have an update on him, AJ?
No, I do not have an update on Dylan Brooks.
All right, so I saw game time decision, but from what I'm reading, it doesn't look like he's going to play. But either way, the guy that they need back in there is Jaren Jackson Jr. He was like the beating heart of that Grizzlies team in the playoffs. I know everyone looks at the stat sheet and they see Ja Morant, but that dude, Jaren Jackson, is so good. And they're really like I said, 26th in defensive efficiency. That's bottom 5 in the NBA. They've also been absolutely dreadful stopping teams from getting into fast breaks. They're 28th in fast break attempts allowed off steals and 26th in fast break points allowed off live rebounds. This team just isn't getting back on defense in transition, and that's Brooks and Jaren Jackson right there. That's what they do. They combine speed and size. That's them. and it's showing. It's really showing. I don't know if it's Steven Adams isn't getting back on defense. He's never had a problem with that in the past. He's a slower guy, but he usually does a pretty decent job. Maybe it's that new forward. I hope I say his name right. Santi Aldama. Maybe it's him. But I don't really know the reason why. I'm just looking at the numbers, and they've been terrible defending in transition. And by the way, it's the Nets away from Brooklyn. So, yeah, we always make jokes about the Nets' horrible home against the spread record. But away from home, they were 24-18 last year against the spread. So the Nets on the road is a much safer bet than the Nets at home. Brooklyn wins this game, period. AJ, tell them your wrong analysis.
The Nets have failed to cover the spread in their last 8 and 9 against Memphis, and that is something I'm looking at because honestly, with basketball, I feel that the history tends to line up more than any other sport. If you look at NFL players against history matchups, or if you do the same thing with MLB, the results tend to always change. With the NBA, I don't know. It just seems to be more consistent, one could say. And while the Nets have been a pretty well-balanced offense thus far, I'll give them that. Their strength has been the mid-range, sitting 6th in efficiency. The Grizzlies' defensive strength, mid-range defense. They're 8th in efficiency and frequency. If the Nets want to score, they have to get the 3-ball working, which I think they can on the road. I'll definitely admit that. But the Grizzlies themselves have been surprisingly living off the 3-ball, 5th in frequency, 10th in efficiency, and the Nets defense is 26th in 3-point defensive efficiency. I really don't like the matchup for them. Another big edge for Memphis is their offensive rebounding, 4th in offensive rebounding, while Brooklyn is 29th in defensive ORB percentage. Memphis should feast on the offensive glass and have plenty of second chance opportunities. And normally, while I'm all over betting the Nets on the road, I will definitely say that the Grizzlies were the best home team against the spread in 2021, and I just see several advantages for the Grizzlies here. I'm gonna fade all the money. It's scary. The line movement is definitely there. I can see what Kyle's going with, but I ultimately like the Grizzlies to cover the spread here.
Okay, so wrong. You mentioned the Memphis Grizzlies mid-range defense. Who have they played that even shoots the mid-range shot? The Rockets, like the Knicks. I mean, they're not those matches.
The Knicks are a top 10 team in mid-range.
Yeah, and they almost lost. They didn't cover.
Yeah, true.
And then they played Dallas and got their literal lips smacked around by 40.
Grizzlies -5.
Brooklyn wins.
Next game.
Next game. This one sucks.
We have to be on the same side here, or you just didn't cap it correctly.
I mean, I don't even like the game. I'm taking the Celtics -6. I don't like it.
Didn't cap it correctly. Bulls +6.
Okay, bro. Okay. Fading the Celtics definitely seems like a really smart decision. You should.
No, it's a psycho move, but.
All right, I'll put it up there.
Psycho.
I'll put it up there for you. All right, so you like the Bulls.
I like the over way more. That's my best bet of that game.
I'll add that in a second. For me, the Celtics' second unit with Malcolm Brogdon and Grant Williams and Noah Vonleh is just crazy. It would probably beat a handful of NBA starting lineups. They're so good. It's like a rare combination of like a lethal 3-point shooter. You got a point guard that can score and play defense. I mean, this is like good pieces for your starting lineup. This is the second unit for Boston. I think the Bulls can battle with the Celtics starters right now, especially with Robert Williams III out. Because, DeRozan can go like toe-to-toe with Jason Tatum. Zach LaVine with Jaylen Brown. Like, I could see the Bulls starters really playing with these guys. I can see Vucevic being a very tough cover for Al Horford. But that being said, when the second unit comes on the floor, it's all Celtics, like, without a doubt. I can't fade. And who's on the Bulls' second unit here that you really like? I'm not seeing it. Kobe White? No.
That boy Hooper.
I'm on Boston. I just don't think it's smart to fade Boston right now. So I'm on the Celtics, but this is a half unit at best. Probably won't even be on the ticket.
Yeah, so I was feeling the same way as you at first. I was all over the Celtics, and then I started looking at something. I looked at the Celtics defense against the mid-range thus far. And as you know, if you're capping a Chicago Bulls game, that's a very important stat considering this team, not only this year, but last year, leads the league in mid-range frequency by like a metric ton. And the Celtics have been dreadful dreadful against the mid-range thus far. 29th in mid-range efficiency for defense and 30th in mid-range frequency. That's not the best matchup that I'm seeing right there. And then on top of it, one thing that I will give you for sure for any Celtics better is that the Bulls defense has been nothing short of absolutely atrocious. Meanwhile, the Celtics offense does not look like it could be stopped at the moment. We're talking about the first offense in efficient field goal percentage against the 30th defense in efficient field goal percentage. So definitely leans with the Bulls there. But as I said, I really just like the points here. Bulls offense lives on the mid-range. They're going to continue to shoot the life out of it. Boston's going to struggle against it. And we've seen DeMar DeRozan really shine against this Boston team before. I think he does it again here. But ultimately, I think both sides score, and the over is the best bet at 224.5.
You said it perfectly. Boston, first in the NBA in efficient field goal percentage. Chicago, 30th in the NBA in efficient field goal percentage allowed. Take Boston team total over 139.5. No, I don't. I really don't love this one. But yeah.
I was actually looking at both team totals over, but yeah.
So you're over 224.5. I put on there. I can get down. I can get down with the over. I'll put that on the ticket for a half. I can get down with that over.
Yeah.
All right, San Antonio at Minnesota, and I'm taking the points here with the Spurs, and I don't like it at all. But at the same time, what have we seen from Minnesota to give us any sort of confidence in anything? Seriously, I mean, what have you seen from Minnesota that you like? Hold on one second, let me get this in the right spot. All right, cool. So I'm taking the Spurs. So the Timberwolves, what a lucky start to their schedule, by the way. Oklahoma City twice, Utah. They actually lost to Utah. And now they get San Antonio. That's 3 of the maybe bottom 5 teams in the NBA. Well, Utah's looking better than that, but I still don't think they're good. Utah beat them, and Oklahoma City played them tough twice. I think the T-Wolves are really going to be a solid team second half of the season, maybe a month or two from now. But wasn't adding Rudy Gobert supposed to make this a dominant team under the basket, right? Isn't that what we were expecting? Gobert at the 5, Cat at the 4. This team's just 8th in defensive efficiency at the rim, which is good. 15th in offensive efficiency at the rim. Those aren't exactly dominant numbers considering they played Oklahoma City twice and Utah once. I would expect those to be better, but okay, I can let those slide. Check this out right here. Minnesota Timberwolves, 21st in defensive ORB. They can't even keep people off their offensive glass with Gobert and Cat. Say what you want about the Spurs. They've been bad. They're not a good team, but I don't think Minnesota's a very good team right now. I think they will be. Give them 4 weeks, 8 weeks, and we can start betting the Timberwolves a lot. 8.5 with a team that I don't trust at all. No.
I'm going with the Timberwolves. I'm laying the points. The Spurs have failed to cover their last 6 to 7 games against the Minnesota Timberwolves. And while the T-Wolves defense allows opponents to shoot a lot, or at least attempt a lot of threes, they've actually been really good in holding them under with sitting 6th in three-point efficiency. The Spurs have been quite solid offensively thus far. I'm definitely going to go ahead and give them that. But that same argument you were making before about, I forget which team it was, who the hell have the Spurs played so far defensively? You've played essentially the Charlotte Hornets, who I think are a bottom 5 defensive team, the Indiana Pacers, who I think are a bottom 5 defensive team, the Philadelphia 76ers, who I think are a good defensive team, but are performing at the current moment of writing like a bottom 5 defensive team. Now you're going to go ahead and you're going to have to play the Timberwolves defense, who's actually been quite solid thus far, a top 10 unit. The T-Wolves defense is going to shut them down from the 3. And then offensively, what I really like for the T-Wolves is they attempt the 3rd most shots at the rim thus far, while the Spurs allow the 2nd most shots at the rim. We saw the Spurs play Terry Taylor and Plumlee in the first 2 games, so we didn't see them get exposed. But then they played Embiid, and Embiid dropped 40 on them. I know the Spurs were still able to win the game, but when you not only have Gobert, but you have Karl Anthony Towns just steadily attacking the rim, I don't know what the Spurs are going to be able to do to counter that. And we've seen Minnesota dominate the Spurs in the past. So I'm going to go with the T-Wolves minus 7.5 and fade all that money. I will acknowledge, though, that Spurs are playing their asses off right now. And, yeah, good for them.
How are you going to bring up the Spurs' strength of schedule and not mention that Minnesota's played OKC twice?
Played the OKC twice. I know, bro. I know. I saw that too. But I just have I have this feeling they get it together today. I'm gonna fade all the money. I'm good. I'm not gonna ride with the public on a team I think is really bad.
Yeah, I think the Minnesota's gonna be solid later in the season. They just gotta get some chemistry. Cat's not used to playing all these minutes at the 4. Next game. Utah on the road at Houston, and I'm on Houston here, man. Utah just played an overtime game last night. Literally, just a few hours ago. I know that the Jazz look good, and props to them, and I know that the Rockets look bad. But, like, it doesn't get any worse of a spot than this. They just played an overtime game against the Pelicans last night in New Orleans. This will be their 4th game in 3 days. After the game, they had to fly to Houston. Dude, the Rockets look bad. They've lost their games by 10, 7, and 10. So taking them plus 2.5, of course, there's some risk involved, but I think this is their first win. I think it's the perfect spot for them to grab their first win. Utah's been scoring a lot of points. They've allowed a lot of points the last couple games. I am on Houston in the perfect spot. Actually, I didn't even take out my notes. Let's see. I mean, I didn't really write anything worth saying, to be honest. I wrote down, like Lauri Markkanen averaging, 25 points a game? Do you trust him to be a 25-point-a-game scorer? I mean,
Against the Rockets, yes. Against the Rockets, yes.
See, it's not like he's never played the Rockets before, AJ. He's played the Rockets before.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't trust. I'm not ready to just jump on this Utah bandwagon where we should lay points to them. I still have them as a bottom 5 team in the NBA, and they're laying points on the road on a back-to-back off an overtime game. So it's not really a matter of like, oh, well, how have they looked so far? It's just the spot, and I'm not buying this Utah team yet.
Yeah, so there's no way I'm fading this Jazz team right now, coming off 3 straight big upset wins against the Nuggets, T-Wolves, and the Pelicans. They now face a Rockets team that I think is quite horrible. Their coach, I don't even know what he does during the games. He just sits there, smiles, waves a bit. I don't know what Steven Silas does.
He's just chilling.
Yeah, so my money will be going on them. Even with the majority of the money on the Rockets and the spot for the Rockets, the line has still moved to the Jazz minus 2.5 on some books. So Rockets 14, 22, and 1 as home dogs last year against the spread. Gonna fade them here again. I at first wanted to bet the Rockets so bad here, but there's just this weird thing going on with the Jazz. They got some swag to them. What if they're that early surprise team that just keeps on covering spreads? I'm gonna go with the Jazz.
This line just dropped to 2. As we were talking, I went and looked. It's down to 2 now. All right.
Oh, okay. Well, that's something.
Next game. I guess I never took Bengals minus 6 off of whatever broadcast we were doing to that. Let's get rid of that. All right. So, last game. This one sucks. Everyone's on the Nuggets. Like 90% of the money's on the Nuggets. Some of that is sharp money, but the public's on Denver too. They look great in their win over Golden State, no doubt about it. But you know who else looks great? Portland. They're 3-0, undefeated. They're one of 4 undefeated teams, and the offense hasn't really started clicking yet. This team's playing great defense. Portland is 5th against the mid-range jump shot, 7th against the 3-point shot. They're one of the best teams in the NBA in defending against the transition. They've been great against fast breaks. They're 6th in the NBA in defensive points added against the fast break. Denver Nuggets are dead last, 30th in the NBA in defensive efficiency at the rim. Portland's been attacking the basket like crazy, 4th in the NBA in rim shot attempt frequency. So you got a team that's been terrible in defending the rim against a team that does nothing but attack the rim a shitload. This team hasn't lost yet. I'm getting 4.5 points at home. I'm riding with Dame Dalla. I think the offense could finally start clicking and pull up yet another upset.
Yeah, this is the only game I didn't fully prep for, so I don't have too much to really add on to that here. I'm just looking at the recent against the spread totals for the Nuggets against the Trailblazers, and they cover a lot of spreads against the Trailblazers. I can see why the public is on them, but I'm going to ride with Kyle here and his thought process, because I agree. The Trailblazers are hot right now. They look great. Nurkic is healthy. don't know why I just said healthy, but healthy. They should be able to help clamp my guy Jokic. I don't know. I just like the Blazers there in that spot at home.
Yeah, I think they're a live dog. But I admit that when I was looking at the spot, I could see how everyone's on Denver. It's like a nice little spot. They're riding a high right now. But it's just like the team hasn't lost yet, and they keep kind of like how what you said about the Jazz. That's how I feel about Portland.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm taking it. My favorite bet is the Nets. AJ's wrong here. The Nets are about to win. But if you want,
my favorite bet's the Bulls.
The Bulls. Ugh. You know what though? I don't love the Celtics though, so I'm not gonna argue with you on that. I hope you win. But yeah, I love the Nets. And I will, so it's 5 o'clock, so I gotta go. So VIP NBA stuff it's already done. It's gonna be up in literally 5 minutes. NFL Monday Night Football will be up 15, 20 minutes after that. That's also already typed up. I just gotta put it on the website and hit publish, and make the colors and all that stuff. So give me 5 minutes for NBA, 20 minutes for Monday Night Football, and all that stuff will be up on KyleKirms.com or the app. Thank you for watching. Sorry for the no notice on this. We were supposed to go live on the app. I couldn't get it working. So I was like, screw it, let's just go live on YouTube. So no one even knew we were going live. Everyone have a great night. Let's win some money, hopefully.
Yes.
Hit us up on Twitter if you need us. Have a good one. All right.
Dude, wow. I had the Nuggets.